Hi everyone, it's time to find out what I read in November, and spoiler, it's a lot of dirty romance. So the first book I read was Club Shadowlands, Master of the Shadowlands. I finished it on the 4th of November. It was the first book I read this month. I read it because it was for the Just Fuck Already podcast. Just F Already podcast is where you can find us. If you want to listen to it, it's me and my friend Yo. We talk about dirty romance and we just make fun of the books that we read. It's really funny, so check it out. I gave that a 2 out of 5. It was really bad. So then I was doing research to find out what our next book would be that we could read, and I found out that Kresley Cole, my actual favorite romance author, I actually love her books. She wrote a like Highlander series I didn't know about, and I was like, oh my god. So I downloaded that because it was like $2.99, and it was called If You Dare. It's the McCarrick brothers. I think it's like a trilogy or something. I gave it a 3 out of 5. It was kind of long and not super great, but I just love Kresley Cole. Like, her characters are so awesome, so I really liked the girl that she, like the main character, female, is always so awesome, and this book was like no exceptions. So I kind of hate that I gave this a 3 and I gave Club Shadowlands a 2. I should really give that a 1 because it was awful, and If You Dare was not bad. So yay, Kresley Cole, you do not disappoint. And then I went back to YA and I read P.S. I Like You, something that's been on my list since it was like a Goodreads nominee in like 2016. It's by Casey West. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I didn't think I would like this because it felt like very cliche at first. It's like these kids are exchanging notes in classroom and they don't know who it is, and it turns out it's the guy she hates. But it was really good. Like, I mean, it wasn't like classically good, and it wasn't like crazy well written, but it took me back to high school. Like, it was the first YA book I read in a long time that felt like high school. That like never happens anymore. It almost always feels like way too adult for like what's happening, but this one felt just like high school. I could see this happening in real life, which I really liked. Also, the main character was like kind of nerdy and weird, and I really liked that. On my quest to find another book to read for Just Fuck Already, I ended up reading 2 free Kindle Unlimited or Kindle Prime free books, romance books. I finished them both in a day because they were just that kind of book that you just want to finish, like an easy, smutty read. The first one was Hot Mess by Emily Goodwin, and the second one was Twice Burned by Emily Goodwin. It's the same characters. She just split it into 2 books, probably so she could make some money. Can't blame her. Even though they were free on Amazon Prime. They were okay. They weren't like super good, but they were like really fun to read like for a whole day. Like, I spent the whole day reading both of them, and I only downloaded the second one because the first one ended on a cliffhanger that I didn't particularly care about, but it's one of those things where like I have to know, you know? So I read those and I gave them 2 stars each. They're kind of fun though if you're like into romance, you want to read something stupid. Then I was still on my quest to read more dirty romance, and I found a book called Royally Bad by Nora Filty, and I gave it 1 out of 5 stars. It was so bad I didn't even want to talk about it on Just Fuck Already. It was like the most ridiculous premise I've ever read, and the characters were so stupid and nothing made sense. Do not recommend. And then to top off my month of romance reading, I read James K. Polk, The American President series, The 11th President by John Siegenhaler. I gave it 3 out of 5. Polk was a racist asshole who owned slaves, so slave owners never get above 3 stars on here, just so you know, no matter what they accomplished. It's the reason all the presidents so far, only John Adams and John Quincy Adams are the only ones that got more than 3 stars. Everybody else owned slaves. Why? Bad America. This book was actually really good. James K. Polk is one of those ones you don't hear about a whole lot, but he did quite a bit. Like, gave us Texas and Oregon and started fighting for California for us, which, you know, was all really bad because he did really bad things to the people that lived there and the native people, which was awful. But you don't hear about him a whole lot, and he did quite a bit to shape the reason that we are America today, so good for you. And that's what I read in November. Truthfully, I read a lot of these dirty romances, one because I had to pick one for Just Fuck Already, but also because I was behind on my quota and I read romance really quickly. So now I'm only 9 books away from my goal of 75 books. So December is gonna be 9 books for sure. So stay tuned for that. It's been fun doing this with you for a whole year and letting you know what I read. 75 books, crazy, woo! And hopefully we do this again next year. Okay, see you next month, bye.